what is called trigonometry. So if you don't know what is called trigonometry, or you haven't heard about what is called trigonometry before, so I would like to just give a brief explanation on what is called trigonometry. If you look at the word trigonometry is formed from two different words, trigo and metry. When we say trigo implies triangles, that is talking about angles with three sides, or angles with three sides. So when we say metry, we define metry as just measurement. So it means talking about how we measure what? Triangles. Now, the word trigonometry can be defined as branch of mathematics that is being concerned with the way we deal with some functions of angles in calculations. So now, I'll be talking about how sin square theta plus cos square theta equals 1. I believe some of us have been seeing this kind of question before, whereby they will say sin square theta plus cos square theta equals 1. So how is it gotten? How come sin square theta plus cos square theta equals to 1? So it is being gotten from how you understand the word trigonometry. So let me start with triangles first. If we have this kind of triangle now, let's say a triangle of equilateral, that is, they have equal sides. So as they have equal sides, it means there will be equal angles. So it means this angle here, and this side here, they are all what? Equal. So, and I believe you guys know that if they are all equals, it means each total angles in the triangle is 180 degrees. That is, it has three sides. And I believe you guys know when we say n minus 2 times what? Times 180. So we use this to know the what? Total angles in the triangle. Sum of angles. Formula for sum of angles. Sum of angles is equals n minus 2 times 180. So since it has n, how many sides here? 3. So we say 3 minus 2 times 180 degrees. So it will give us what? 1 times 180 degrees. So this implies 180 degrees. So total angles here is what? Is 180 degrees. So now, since we have 180 degrees as total angles here, so it means each angles must be equal. So if you say 180 degrees divided by 3, so I'm going to get what? 60. So it means each angles we have 60 degrees each. 60 degrees and also 60 degrees. So let's say we divide it into 2. They are being divided into 2. So it means the angle here will be 30 and the angle here will be what? 30 degrees. So now, if you're talking about SOHCAHTOA in trigonometry, okay, let's say we call here A, then we call here B, then we call here C. So if one of the triangle is being drawn out, let's say we take this right angle out. Now we call here A, we call here B, then we call here what? C. So you should know this should be our A, this should be our small c, this should be our small b. Use of Pythagoras theorem. In Pythagoras theorem, I believe you guys know that c squared is equals to what? A squared plus b squared. This is Pythagoras theorem. But with this law of SOHCAHTOA, if you're talking about angles, let's say we have, the angle here is 90 degrees. Since it is being gotten from what? 180 degrees. So half of it is 90 degrees. Total angles here should be 360. So now, if here is our angle, let's say angle theta. So if here is our angle theta, it means the use of SOHCAHTOA. If you are using SOHCAHTOA to determine angles, so it means our so is our sine. So which is sine is equals to opposite over what? Hypotenuse. So this is our opposite here. Since our angle is here, here will be our what? Opposite. So here will be our what? Hypotenuse, known as the longest side. So here will be our what? Adjacent. This will be our adjacent. So now the same thing goes to CAH, which is cosine or cos. So CAH implies what? Adjacent over what? Over hypotenuse. And also TOA, which is tangent. Tan equals to what? Opposite over what? Over adjacent. So after we talk about this is just about how we use Pythagoras theorem and SOHCAHTOA to determine angles and sides. So now, this is not where I'm really going to. Let me now go back to how we can get sin square theta plus cos square theta equals to 1. How is that possible? So I'll show you guys how it is being possible. So it can be possible in different methods. Let's say we are having an angle, we are having a triangle like this. This is a triangle. So in this triangle here, let's say half of it is being cut out. Then we cut this part out, so it becomes what? So we call here A, we call here B, then we call here what? C. So I can say if my angle is here, angle theta. So from this side here, I can decide to say using Pythagoras theorem. So if here is our small a, small b, and small c. So you can say my c squared is equals to what? A squared plus b squared. That is hypotenuse squared equals to what? Opposite squared plus what? Adjacent squared. So using the what? Pythagoras theorem. Now, so I can call this one my first equation, equation 1. The next one using that SOHCAHTOA. The SOHCAHTOA I explained previously. So SOHCAHTOA implies sine, let's say sine, cos, and tan. So for the sine, let's say you are having opposite over what? Hypotenuse. So this is our A over B. Now for the cosine, let's say you are having cos equals to cosine implies adjacent over hypotenuse. So this is our what? Adjacent. That's B over what? Over C. Sorry, I wrote B here, it should be C. So since sine is opposite over hypotenuse A over C, cosine is B over C, then tangent will be what? That is what? A over B. So using this first one first, we can say if sine theta, sorry, I need to put theta, sine theta equals to sine theta, tan theta. So sine theta can be equals to what? A over C. So if I cross multiply, I can say A is equals to what? C sine theta. And I can also square both sides and say by squaring both sides, square both sides. If I square both sides, it will be what? A squared equals to what? C squared sine squared theta. So I've gotten another equation. Let me call your equation 2. So for cosine, so I can say my cosine as well. I can say if I cross multiply, let's say I root cos theta equals to B over C. So if I cross multiply, I can say B is equals to what? C cos theta. Then by squaring both sides again, to be B squared equals to what? C squared cos squared theta. Equation what? Equation 3. So after this now, the next thing for me to do now is that equation 2 and equation 3, let me sum them together. I'm going to sum equation 2 and what? Equation 3. So how would I sum them? I can sum them by saying we are having a squared plus b squared equals to, then I sum here and here, then let me sum here and here as well. So I can say c squared sine squared theta plus c squared cos squared theta. I squared here, I sum here and here together. So the next thing I want to say, let me factorize what's common here, c squared. I can say a squared plus b squared equals to c squared into bracket sine squared theta plus what? Cos squared theta. So at this point right now, I've factorized that c squared is common in this term, in these two terms here. So recall that c squared is equals to what? A squared plus what? B squared. Based on the first equation. So anytime I see a squared plus b squared, I'll call it what? C squared. So I can say therefore we are having c squared equals to c squared into bracket sine squared theta plus what? Cos squared theta. Now I can say c squared cancels c squared. So it remains 1 here. So I can decide to interchange and say therefore our sine squared theta plus cos squared theta equals to 1. So it is being gotten that sine squared theta plus cos squared theta equals to 1 from the what? From trigonometry. That is from triangles. So based on what I explained just now, if you follow it again one more time, you're going to understand more better how sine squared theta plus cos squared theta equals to 1. And also from this sine squared theta plus cos squared theta equals 1, you can also use it to find another equation. Let's say I try to divide, this is our first one, I try to divide all through by sine squared theta by dividing all terms by sine squared theta. If I divide all these terms here by sine squared theta, to be what? Sine squared theta over what? Sine squared theta. Also plus cos squared theta over what? Sine squared theta equals to 1 over what? Sine squared theta. So if this cancels this, you are having 1 plus cos squared theta over sine squared theta equals to 1 over what? Sine squared theta. So, and also under sine, cos, and tan, You know, when we deal with angles, angles have 6 functions. Let's say an angle. An angle can perform 6 different functions. So the first function is sine, second function is cosine, we also have tangent, we also have cotangent, they also have cosecant and secant. We also have secant. So when you look at sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, cosec, and what? Secant. So under sine and cos, I can say if sine is equal to A over C and cos is B over C. So it means tan, if you look at it very well, if you divide sine theta over cos theta, let's say if sine theta is dividing cos theta, look at what will be, it will be A over C divided by what? B over C. So which will be A over C times what? C over B. So if C cancels C, you'll be having what? A over B. So which implies that if sine theta divides cos theta, it will give us tan theta, which is A over B. So I can easily say that it means tan theta is equal to what? Sine theta over cos theta. That is tan theta. Tan theta equals to what? Sine theta over what? Cos theta. Why? Because if we divide sine theta over cos theta from A over C and B over C, to give us A over B. So therefore it is equal to each other. That is, sine theta can be equals to tan theta can be equals to what? Sine over cos theta. So now from this point now, also in the inverse form, when I say tan theta, it implies what? Sine theta over what? Cos theta. So when I say 1 over tan theta, it implies what? Cos theta over what? Sine theta. That is in inverse form. Tan theta equals sine over cos. The 1 over tan will be what? Cos over sine. And also under these 6 functions, the cosec theta, you can say cosec or sec. Let's start from secant first. Secant can be equals to 1 over what? Cos theta. That is, secant implies the inverse of cos. Also cosecant. Cosecant implies the inverse of sine. So cosecant is 1 over sin theta and secant is what? 1 over cos theta. So it's now called cotangent. Cotangent is also inverse of tan, that is 1 over tan theta. So it means if I say tan theta is sine over cos, it's the inverse of tan is equals to cos over sine. So which is equals to what? Cotangent. So from this place now you can say it is 1 plus, what is this? I'll call it cos square theta, since we are having square, then equals to what? 1 over sin theta, as I said earlier, is the what? Inverse of, 1 over theta is also equals to what? Cosecant theta. So I can also call it cosec square theta. So let me come again from that. Cos over sine implies inverse of tan. That is, if tan is sine over cos, so 1 over tan will be equals to cos over sine. So I said 1 over tan is what? Cotangent. So therefore 1 over tan is what? Cotangent. Why? Because the inverse of tan is what? Cotangent. So now I can decide to say our cos square theta over sin square theta is equal to what? Cos square theta. And also for this last one here, 1 over sin square theta. Since I said cosecant theta or cosec theta is equal to 1 over sin theta. So it means I can also remove this here and call it what? Cosec square theta. That's for the next one that we got from this formula. From sin square theta plus cos square theta equals to 1. So the last one, if you divide all through by cos square theta, you know we divide it by sin square theta here. So you can decide to go and do it on your own. So thank you very much for following me. And for the last one I said, please, you can just go and solve by dividing all through by cos square theta and show your answer in the comment section. So I will either like it if it is correct, then if it's not correct I won't say anything. So thank you for following me. Please subscribe to my channel.